to provide additional temporary extension of programs under the Small Business Act and Small Business Investment Act of 1958, and to provide for the repeal of certain small business administration programs.
The clerk will report the title of the bill.
H.R. 2608, a bill to provide for an additional temporary extension of programs under the Small Business Act and the Small Business Investment Act of 1958 and for other purposes.
Pursuant to the rule, the gentleman from New York, Mr. Hanna, and the gentlewoman from New York, Ms. Velasquez, each will control 20 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from New York.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask unanimous consent that all members shall have 5 consecutive days to revise and extend the remarks and include extraneous materials on the bill under consideration.
Without objection, so ordered.
Mr. Speaker, I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There are a few components to the legislation we have before us. First, the bill provides for a straightforward extension of certain SBA programs through December 31st, 2011. This is a necessary measure since the current extension, which the House passed in May, expires at the end of this month. As we continue to do work with our Democratic colleagues and our colleagues in the body towards a full and complete reauthorization of the SBA and its programs, this extension will ensure that these programs are still available to provide assistance to entrepreneurs who need to create jobs. Secondly, the bill before us terminates several duplicative and outdated programs that are either used very infrequently or not at all. It has been said that once a program is initiated, it is almost impossible to eliminate. Today, we will prove that notion wrong. The program eliminations contained in this bill represent a good first step toward cleaning up the SBA's program portfolio, thereby refocusing the agency's energy on their core mission of facilitating small business lending, offering entrepreneurial advice to small business owners, and ensuring that they receive their fair share of federal contracts. For example, one of the programs selected for termination is the Central European Enterprise Development Program. This initiative has not been funded since 1995, and one of the countries involved, Czechoslovakia, no longer exists. For an even more striking example, the Pollution Control Bond Guarantee Program, initiated in 1976 to provide SBA-backed bonds for the purchase of pollution control equipment to retrofit existing factories, has not offered a single bond guarantee since the early 80s. Simply having these programs on the books at the SBA detracts manpower and resources away from the SBA's core programs, and it is time to get them out of the way. Not only does this bill clean up the SBA, it also saves money. The bill eliminates 2 drug-free workplace programs. These programs were allocated $2 million for fiscal year 2011. While not a huge sum of money when considering the overall fiscal budget, each and every penny we save is a penny we don't have to borrow. For additional cost savings, the legislation also prohibits the SBA from using any of its discretionary funding on its Emerging Leaders Program. While the program started in fiscal year 2009 without any congressional approval or authorization of appropriations, the SBA has requested $3 million for this program for 2012. The program is duplicative of existing entrepreneurial development programs and does not have a good matrix for evaluating the program's success. The SBA ought to be focusing on well-evaluated, congressionally authorized programs that have been fully vetted and supported by members of Congress. I would like to thank the gentlelady from New York, our committee's ranking member, Velasquez, for her efforts to craft this legislation. It is a breath of fresh air to work in a truly bipartisan manner on important issues facing our nation, and I appreciate her leadership on this issue. With that, I urge my colleagues to support H.R. 2608 as amended. I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman reserves.